Hello everybody, it's Foo here with another Why You Should Use video with my buddy John, and today we're talking about Coalossal. You may well have used this thing in your playthrough and it was a beast for me, and we're going to tell you that it's really going to be a beast in battles in general. It's a really cool Pokemon and very, very unique. But over on John's channel,
we're going to be going over one of my favorite Pokemon of all time at this point, Copperajah, a very incredible steel elephant. But before we can get into that, let's talk about Coalossal. And this is a really interesting and unique Pokemon. I love everything about its design. I was not expecting this rock monster just with a pile of coal on its head coming from the rolling around little rock guy, but I've been very pleasantly surprised with the way it looks, and then also this Pokemon in general, because looking at its stats, they're very unique, but they're pretty solid. 110 HP is always incredible. A very usable 80 attack and 80 special attack, so you can have some variety there. Maybe you have some mix sets, which is cool. 120 defense, really nice to see, especially on a rock type. A 90 special defense, which is usable. I mean, that 110 HP, 120 defense, and 90 special defense, just really good across the board. And 30 speed really isn't a problem. No one thought this Pokemon was going to be fast, and if you did, you're crazy. I don't know what's going on in that noggin. And while the rock fire typing isn't ideal, it does have a few 4x weaknesses. It does have a brand new ability, Steam Engine, which is really unique, which says when this Pokemon is hit by a fire type or water type move, its speed is increased by 6 stages, which is incredible. With that 30 speed, you can really turn this thing potentially into a quick sweeper, which is just insane. And if you don't want to use that ability, Flame Body is great for hopefully burning your opponent, and Flash Fire is just fantastic, switching in on any fire move and making, you know, your either physical fire moves or special fire moves even stronger.
looking at the attacks that it gets quite a few good offensive moves. It gets Rock Slide and Stone Edge on the rock type for stabs, and for fire types it gets so many different stab moves. It gets physical and special ones. Notable ones are things like Burn Up. Heat Crash is very good because it's a very heavy Pokemon. Fire Punch and Flare Blitz, those are just a few. It gets Earthquake, which is great coverage for other rock types, for example. And it also gets ways to boost its speed, so Flame Charge and Rapid Spin, which is great because it not only boosts its speed, but it does get rid of hazards as well. We've got Body Press here because it's got a massive defense stat that could be useful, and then some special coverage, which is interesting, so Earth Power and also Scald. So for something that's 4x weak to water to get Scald, that's pretty crazy, but definitely helpful. And the last move we've just put on here is Explosion. It does get other coverage moves and things, but those are just notable ones. In terms of setup, it gets Rock Polish, but it's very slow speed, so whether that will be used very much, it remains to be seen. And then you've also got Iron Defense there, but this thing is really bulky anyway, so you might not need to set up the Iron Defenses either. And then in terms of utility, this is really great because it has Stealth Rock and Spikes, so it's a great hazard setter as well as a hazard remover with Rapid Spin. Then you also have Will-O-Wisp, so you can burn other Pokemon. Really nice. Reflect and Blocker there, probably less so used, but it's got a lot of tools at its disposal here, not least coverage and some good hazards to set up. It's also worth mentioning that Coalossal has a Gigantamax form with its signature G-Max Volcalith move, and this is a rock type move that kind of functions like most other trapping moves, so it will do damage over time for 4 more turns. So that's instead of the usual max rock type move that sets up the Sandstorm, and actually it's probably better in max raids because it means that you don't set up the Sandstorm to hurt all of your allies and things like that. You're only hurting the target, so it's one to consider.
The first set we're going to be looking at is a little bit of everything in one, and I really do like this set. Now, there is going to be a lot of different things you guys can do, especially when it comes to the EVs, so just use your imagination, but this is a solid example for really just a bulky Stealth Rock set. This is going to be a fantastic Pokemon to be able to get Stealth Rocks up, you know, early into the game, maybe later into the game. It depends on how you want to use this Pokemon. And this particular set is going to be more of a special wall that you can switch in later on, set up your hazards, or maybe even get rid of them. So Leftovers is almost always going to be the perfect item for this set, as it doesn't have any other reliable recovery. Flame Body is definitely going to be the ability if this is just going to be a defensive Pokemon, so you can maybe get a nice burn on something, especially as this particular set doesn't have any other ways to burn Pokemon. The EVs, again, you're always going to want 252 HP, But after that, you can do either mixed EVs if you want to get more specialized, but it could be, 252 into special defense, make it a special wall, or into defense, make it a defensive wall, or even a bulky offensive Pokemon, 252 HP and then 252 into attack or a special attack. There's a lot of options with this mon. Just depends on how you want to use it. Maybe it's more offensive in the beginning of a game as a lead. Maybe it's going to be more of a wall like this. That's just up to you. But Stealth Rocks is really going to be a staple on this set. After that, Spikes or Rapid Spin, it depends on how you want this Pokemon to go. Just trying to hazard stack with this Pokemon can be really nice. Rapid Spin is actually kind of a sneaky, interesting move for this Pokemon, as once you use Rapid Spin, you'll get that speed boost, and then maybe you can actually outspeed the other slow walls that you might be in on, so that could be kind of cool. And Rapid Spin is just fantastic to get rid of hazards, just in general, especially considering this Pokemon will be taking damage from every single type of hazard, with Stealth Rock doing 25% to its health, which is not ideal. Rock Slide is there for a really solid stab move. You could also put Rock Blast on there if you do want to make sure you're taking out things with a Focus Sash if this thing is a lead, or if you want to make sure that you're going to be able to get rid of substitutes. Just hopefully not allowing anything to set up on this Pokemon, especially with the set not being super invested into attack. It's just something to consider. And the final move is Flare Blitz. Again, this depends on just what kind of EVs you're running. Flare Blitz makes a lot of sense on this particular set, as we don't have a lot of attack investment. It's going to allow it to do a decent amount of damage, but if you have more attack, you don't want to take the recoil, maybe you'll go for a safer option.
The next set is going just completely offensive, or as offensive as this Pokemon can get, really, with a Choice Band set. And the ability this time, instead of Flame Body, is Flash Fire. Like, you don't need the immunity so much because you 4 times resist fire type moves anyway, but if you happen to get hit by a fire type move, Flash Fire will boost your fire damage. So on offensive sets, that's maybe the better ability to run. Now with this set, we've got a little bit of speed investment just for some speed creep against other base 30s that you might run into. There are quite a lot of them, not least other Coalossal that you might want to outspeed and take out. So that's something to bear in mind there. But then the rest is just an HP and max attack with an adamant nature to hit as hard as possible. The offensive moves, we've got Flare Blitz, which has crazy base power, but it does cause recoil, or you can have Heat Crash. That depends on the weight of the opponent that you're trying to hit. So if you're a lot heavier than them, you'll be doing tons of damage, but you have to watch out for things that are slightly heavier than you. So there are a couple of them, not many, but things like Copperaja, you'd think you'd hit really hard with a fire type move, Heat Crash. You're not going to hit it very hard at all. You're much better going for Earthquake. In terms of the rock type stab you've got here, Stone Edge is a really hard hitting move, but it might miss, so you have to be careful about that. And Earthquake is really important to hit other rock types. And then the last slot, you have a couple of options here. Heavy Slam, just because you're a heavy Pokemon and you can hit fairies particularly hard with that, but actually Explosion is an option here as well. On offensive teams, that might be better because you do tons of damage, but also keep momentum, so you can get rid of this guy and then get something in that might want to set up, for example. So that's just an option if you want to go with an offensive Coalossal.
This next set is a really interesting set, and it's really special for Coalossal. This is more of a dedicated Rapid Spin user, and then also a Pokemon that should allow you to get a bunch of burns on the opponent, which is really nice considering most Pokemon that are setting up Stealth Rocks are going to be on the physically offensive side. So we have Heavy Duty Boots here, very important. You don't want to take damage from hazards if you're trying to get rid of hazards, and this thing does not want to switch in on Stealth Rocks, Spikes, or Toxic Spikes, so that is fantastic. Flame Body's just going to go with all of the chances to get burns. We have 204 HP, the 252 special attack, because we are going for a especially offensive build, which is really cool. This is not a Pokemon I expect to be especially offensive, but I also didn't expect it to get Scald, so it just has a lot of really cool surprises. The 52 speed is just to make sure you can, speed creep and outspeed some of the slower Pokemon, especially as this is going to be, going against a lot of slower wall Pokemon. Setting up hazards, having a little bit of speed will be very nice. Modest Nature, just to make sure that special attack is as high as possible. But then we have the Nuke special offensive fire move, either Overheat or Burn Up. Overheat, is going to lower the special attack on this Pokemon, so that might not be something you want if you want to stay in and maybe spam moves. But if you go for Burn Up, that's really just going to work one time as you're going to lose the fire typing afterwards. It really depends. That could also help out as you go for Burn Up. You lose the fire typing, and then it has, no 4 times weaknesses, so it just depends on how you want to use this guy. Either should be great. Scald is fantastic, as while the fire moves will allow you to take on the steel Pokemon setting up hazards, Scald is going to allow you to take on the rock Pokemon and the ground Pokemon, which is really, really nice. Will-O-Wisp is going to be fantastic to make sure that you can burn any of the physically offensive Pokemon, but Stealth Rock's another good option if you just want to be able to get rocks up. Obviously, we talked about that in the first set. There's a lot of things you can change up with this Mon, and that's just one of the options. And the final thing, Rapid Spin. You need that on the Rapid Spin set, and I just really love the creativity you can have with this Pokemon, and this set's just really cool.
The last set we're talking about is my favorite, but it's definitely gimmicky, and I mean, I think a lot of you will want to give it a try, but it might take a while for you to get it to work. So this is going to be the Steam Engine set. We are going to get this train going. Coalossal, he's going to be zooming around the battlefield. So he's holding the weakness policy, and the whole idea about this is for Coalossal to get hit by like a weak Scald or something like that from a defensive Pokemon, a defensive water type, because that will activate the weakness policy and activate Steam Engine, giving it +6 speed. So this is a base 30 Pokemon, and with just 28 speed investment, after Steam Engine has activated, this thing is faster than Dragapult, which is one of the fastest Pokemon in the entire game. So that's why this set can work, because if you manage to activate all these things as it's designed to do, you'll get the +6 speed, you'll get +2 attack and special attack, so max attack with the adamant nature, and some really powerful moves here. We've got Heat Crash, powerful fire type move, Stone Edge, powerful rock type move, Earthquake. The other EVs we put into special defense, because it's actually better to invest in your special defense than into your HP if you're thinking you might be taking a Scald. So that's the idea behind that. We do also have rock polish on this set, because sometimes you just won't be in the position to take that specific Scald hit. Maybe you're facing up against a fighting type, and you can easily take a fighting type hit and go for rock polish, so you get the weakness policy and you get some sort of a speed boost. Although because you don't have loads of speed investment, you won't be outspeeding too much. That last move, rock polish, you could change out for something else. If you just want 4 attacks, you could go for that, because all the setup on this set is done through the item and the ability. If you get it to work, it will outspeed the entirety of your opponent's team, and it will do so much damage with +2 attack.
While this Pokemon is incredibly versatile and very, very cool with singles, it's a little less versatile and cool in doubles, but it definitely still has some tricks up its sleeves, including Tar Shot, which is a brand new move that lowers the target's speed stat, and the target becomes weaker to fire type moves. So this is actually something really, really interesting. You could definitely build teams around this. I don't know if they would be the best teams in the world, but it is definitely a very, very cool move. Will-O-Wisp is going to be great just so you can, hopefully burn a bunch of Pokemon. That's going to pair well with Flame Body. This Pokemon is just going to be burning everything in sight, and there's just a bunch of moves that are going to bother the rest of the opposing Pokemon. Rock Slide, Bulldoze, Heat Wave, and then Rock Tomb to try to get some speed drops. The best ability, we just have Flame Body to try to spread as much burn as possible. And looking at the partner ideas, Gastrodon is a specific Pokemon, but because it has Storm Drain, it's really going to protect Coalossal from water moves, which is unbelievably important. You want to avoid ground type moves, so Grassy Terrain will be really nice to pair with this Pokemon to weaken Earthquakes, and also just slowly heal this Pokemon up, which is nice as it doesn't have reliable recovery. And the final thing, this thing's going to work with a bulky physical offense, as this will be able to spread around a bunch of burn and just allow those Pokemon to work even better.
So that is our take on Coalossal, this massive Coaly beast. But if you want some advice on a different behemoth, a very powerful Pokemon, Copperaja is over on John's channel right now, so definitely check that out. That thing is so powerful. It's really amazing. If you enjoy this kind of content, please consider subscribing to the channels for more and leaving a like on this one to promote it. That would help so much. All the stuff you said is I've been Foo, you've been awesome, and hopefully see you next time. Goodbye.